Hello guys, welcome to the tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you what is automation testing. So what is the major difference between manual and automation testing, and generally when people go towards automation testing. I'll just cover the basics of what is testing is, and then we'll move to why automation testing and the common types of tools used, most commonly used tools, and we'll also cover a brief basics about Selenium WebDriver. Okay, I hope you are aware of what testing is as per the software. Testing is something which we evaluate whether the system matches the specified requirements or not. So that is a baseline of what testing is, and I hope you are aware of the basic software development models, which are waterfall, V, incremental, RAD. These are some of the common types of models we use in testing. And I just quickly revising it. I hope you all have a basic idea about the software models. So in waterfall model, and the waterfall model is only used when requirements are very well known, because the testing comes after the design and implementation. The testing comes during testing, if you find faults, you need to go back and change the design, implement it again, and then you need to test it again. So the cost of fixing the bug is more. So you use waterfall model only when the requirements are very well, and there is no scope that the requirements changes that frequently. Okay, and next comes the V model. As contrast to the waterfall model, in this V model, every development phase has a respective testing phase where the development and testing takes place parallelly. So this kind of model is chosen in some kind of medium-sized projects. So for this type of model, that you need to have a lot of technical resources. The major thing about this model is simple, that there is a test plan for every development model. So here you can see. So when you're having the low-level design, you'll write unit tests. When you have design specifications, you'll write integration tests. When the functional specifications are formally documented, then you'll start writing system test plans, and respectively. Alright. And then agile model is the most commonly used model these days, because it helps to deliver some part of the product quickly, so that the client can see the product and can suggest the changes. So we use agile model only when the requirements are quickly changing, so that the cost of fixing the bugs also reduces in this kind of model. Agile is generally driven by sprints actually, and sprint spans upon actually 2 weeks of time. So for every 2 weeks, you will deliver something to the client which can be seen. So the main advantage of this model is, as we have discussed, that it will be very little cost to fix, because you can have the changes, and you are notified with the changes immediately, and you can implement it as soon as the client requests you. So, and next comes the types of testing. These are commonly followed testing types. Actually, the types of testing changes based upon the model you use, but these are most commonly used types of testing. I hope you all are aware of the testings. So I'll move on to next concept. As we have discussed, testing is majorly done by either manual testing or by automation testing. Manual testing, I hope you're all aware, So let's go to automation testing. So when do you actually go to automation testing? It really depends upon the project you are in. It really depends upon the scope of your requirements, and it really depends upon how frequently you need to execute your tests. Suppose, let's consider, if in your project, if the requirements are changing frequently and you are changing your modules frequently, and there comes a situation where you need to test all the scenarios that surrounds the changes, so then you need to test regression testing. So regression testing is actually a time consuming process if you are doing it manually. So it is best to automate in such scenarios where you need to run multiple data sets, or when you have multiple builds, when you have frequent builds of your system. So it is best to go for automation testing in such cases. Alright, so those are the main factors when you consider the automation testing. It takes a lot of effort first of all to automate a process, but once you automate a process, everything is taken care by that. Right, there are also some kind of frameworks where once you automate automate your testing scenarios in this keyword and data driven framework scenarios, it will be really easy to run the regression tests, and it saves a lot of time and effort as well. That's why people go for automation testing. Okay, and these are the commonly used automation testing tools. If you are into testing career, you may have heard of these tools like Quick Test Professional, Selenium, Test Complete, Windrunner, LoadRunner. Among this, Selenium is most widely used these days, and Selenium is also open source tool. So, and it's also very easy to learn. If you have a bit knowledge of any of the programming language like Java or C#, you can easily get on things with them. Okay, and okay, so what is Selenium? In these tutorials I'm gonna cover about Selenium. Okay, Selenium with Java as a programming language. What is Selenium? Selenium is basically a framework which helps you to automate your applications. Selenium automates only web applications. Okay, remember, Selenium mostly automates only web applications, wherein you have some other tools as well which you can use along with Selenium to automate some desktop based applications. So now let's go and see what Selenium is. Let's get into brief basics about what Selenium is. Okay, and now Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid. Selenium IDE, I'm going to show you what Selenium IDE is. It's a kind of IDE, just like how you have Eclipse. It's a kind of IDE where you can record and play the scripts. I'll show you by the end of this tutorial. And Selenium RC, in next slides we are going to cover what is Selenium RC, WebDriver and Grid. Okay, Selenium RC. So in Selenium RC you actually write your code with either Java or any of the programming languages, and you send that code to Selenium Remote Control Server. RC stands for Remote Control. So when you send that code to Remote Control Server, it converts the code into a browser understandable format, into kind of JavaScript coding, and it sends to the browsers. So the browser receives the commands and then the necessary action is taken care of. Okay, here the code, it helps as an intermediate between your code and your application under test. So it basically acts like a proxy which converts your code into browser understandable format. Okay, we'll get into detail like how we write Selenium RC commands, how to automate the scripts and all, but this is just the basic, okay, like the architecture of how Selenium RC works. Okay, next let us go and see what is WebDriver. Actually, WebDriver is a kind of advanced version of what you have seen RC is. In Selenium WebDriver, your code actually directly interacts with the browser. In Selenium RC, where you have a remote control server which translates your commands and then it goes to your browser. Alright, but here the code automatically goes to your browser, wherein the browser automatically has the server which you can interact with the application directly. So actually the browsers will have a built-in web drivers which helps your code to interact with application. So most commonly used is the Selenium WebDriver, and in the following sessions I'll be covering what is WebDriver, how we will write the commands, and how to automate the scripts and everything. Don't worry about that, just understand the basics. And there comes a Selenium grid. Normally while automating the scenarios, you may have a situation where you need to run parallel tests, or you may need to run some tests across different kinds of browsers, across parallel systems, and so on. In such a case, we use Selenium grid, wherein the Selenium grid acts as a server and all your applications or nodes acts as clients, and it interacts with that and runs parallel tests across the system simultaneously. Okay, alright, this is the basics of what Selenium is, and now I'm gonna show you what is this Selenium IDE. I promised you that I'll show you at the end of the tutorial. So it's actually a kind of add-on tool in the Mozilla browser. You can just go to your add-ons and settings, add-ons in your browser, and you can install it. And I guess I actually installed it. Let me check, else I'll show you how to install it. Okay, let's go and just search for the yeah, here it is. I have it, Selenium IDE. Yeah, alright, I guess I already have the Selenium IDE. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. So let me show you. Just a second. Alright, I'm sorry guys, that's a problem with my browser. And now here I'm gonna show you the Selenium IDE and how it works. Okay, this is how the Selenium IDE looks like. So basically you're just going to some kind of website, and then you can, I'm just showing an example. In the case of your application, you can just go to your application URL, and you can just start recording. See here, the red button, now recording. Okay, you can just start recording, and you can go and click in your application. And I have clicked it there, and I loaded a page, and I have clicked again on weather. So what IDE does is it records all my actions, and then all the commands, all the values are automatically generated as tests here. So when you click to record, you will go to a particular website. I clicked on a weather. Let's check whether it is recording. Yeah, see here you can see open food, click and wait, link is equals to weather, and then I'm going to click on Monday. See how it is displayed. Alright, I'll go to some other thing. Let us click on TV. See, it records everything, every command, every input you give, and when you're done with your steps you can just stop to record, and when you play the entire test suite, all the actions that we are recorded are going to play. See, we loaded the website, we clicked on the weather, and then we clicked on TV, we clicked on Monday, and then we clicked on TV. As you can see, all the actions will be repeated, right? So there are some error, just ignore it. I'm just showing you how the IDE works, and then you can expose this test case to any of the language you wish, some Java language or C# or Ruby. Right, that's main advantage of IDE. Okay, that's it for today. Sorry for the trouble in the middle. If you like the video and you found that the video is informative, please do like, subscribe or comment about my explanation. That would be really helpful to improve myself as well. Thank you. Love you all.